Before the days of the MCU and Disney pushing out so much slop, there was a much simpler time for us superhero fans. It feels like nowadays, no thanks to Disney Plus, so much Marvel specific superhero content is just being pushed through the machine that the quality obviously is decreasing, but also everything has to tie into something. There has to be cameos, and nothing's allowed to just like stand alone and focus on itself.
Hey man, watch where you going. Oh, my bad, kid. I was just
I miss the days of the early superhero TV shows and cartoons, and call me nostalgic, but it feels like those series of my childhood, they were allowed to just stay in their lane and focus and hone in on their craft rather than having to worry about stuff tying into the grander Marvel universe. Stuff was just allowed to exist by itself. In the vast landscape of Marvel superhero TV shows, we of course have like our Earth's Mightiest Heroes or our spectacular Spider-Man series. Those are good, but there's one series that I feel like stands the test of time that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. And in my opinion, it's up there in the rafters with one of the best series and animated projects that Marvel's ever made. I'm, of course, talking about the series with the best intro, the best animated theme song, the Superhero Squad TV show.
All right, squaddies, time to hero up!
I've been waiting so long to talk about this show on the channel, and I'm in such like a nostalgic mood with Christmas coming up, so I've been rewatching some of the episodes, and man, this series is peak, and I figured I'd want to talk about it with you guys. Hold up, before we get into the retrospective, if you guys could please consider liking and subscribing, and also like hitting the notification bell. I know that's very cringe for like a YouTuber to say, I get it, but at the same time, I feel like my videos aren't getting pushed out as much as they used to, so if you guys could please consider subscribing, it just helps the channel grow, helps me know that you guys like these videos, and I'll keep making them because of it. But let's just get into the retrospective. If you're unfamiliar with the series, the Superhero Squad show premiered in September of 2009 and lasted all the way until October of 2011, having around 2 seasons with 52 episodes. And I'll be honest, in the world of little Cody in 2009 and 2011, I feel like that is like the most nostalgic peak time to be a superhero fan in like the early to mid-late 2000s. This series was produced by Marvel Animation, like a lot of the other shows were at the time, but the main reason this series was even made was to push the product for the Hasbro and Toy Biz line of the action figures. Yeah, the main reason this show was made, like a lot of the other Marvel superhero shows at the time, were literally just to promote the toys behind it. And this is obviously most apparent when you look at like the aesthetic and the design of the characters in said show. There's countless behind the scenes stories of people like Avi Arad, aka the Devil, being involved with like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man the Animated Series and shows like Superhero Squad as well, getting involved purely to push the toy sales without like any care towards the actual product in the show or the movie that the toys are based off of. It's just let's churn toys in and out. Who cares about the quality of the show? I'm getting sidetracked here, but as you can tell, of course, with the art style, this show is primarily geared towards kids and parents in 2008, 2009 during the housing crisis, just putting something on so their kids can watch television as they try to figure out with their mortgage and everything. This show is made for like elementary school kids, but for some reason it's 2025 and this show genuinely holds up. This show is hilarious, this show is peak, and it's actually got pretty good storytelling as well. Because of the intended child audience, the characters are stylized in this like super deformed, chibi, Funko Pop style looking characters, which result in like little short tiny bodies but these huge heads. And I mean, you pair that with like the color saturation turned all the way up to the max and like the funny lighthearted humor and tone of the show, it's like peak ultimate brain rot for superhero kids, which is no wonder why I ate that up. The show is centered around the main characters of like the Avengers, if you will, focused around characters like Iron Man, who leads the team, Hulk, Thor, Wolverine, Falcon, and Silver Surfer, who protects Superhero City from people like Doctor Doom and other like Legion of Doom Marvel villains. What's really odd about this show that I thought was really interesting is they have so many characters that they use from their disposal, whether that be mainline characters like Captain America or just creating new Marvel characters like Reptile, who are just now like fan favorites and cult classics, but because of the vast Marvel universe, there's so many characters at their disposal and they use so many of them. If you think of any mainline Marvel character, they're in this show, except for Spider-Man. He's like caught up with Fox and Sony, but don't worry about that. And arguably the best part of this show is the fact that each character, like I said, since they're in this like small little Funko Pop style, they're basically caricatures of who they are. Like the Silver Surfer, he's a surfer on a surfboard for children, but he's like a hippie weed stoner dude. Thor speaks in Old English and poetry and rhymes, and there's like an ongoing gag of Wolverine smelling funny because he's a Wolverine. Like each character is true to who they are with a little bit of a twist, but also are like caricatures of who they usually are, so it's more digestible for children.
Elderly human, I will assist you.
I wanted to cross in the other direction, you silver stumble bum!
No need to thank me, good citizen.
Like, I'll give you an example. There's an episode where the Punisher shows up in his like Punisher van, and he's driving the superhero squad, and he's very stoic and like brooding, but because it's a kids show, he can't be talking about killing people, so he's like going on this minute-long monologue about how he hates broccoli in his like mac and cheese and how it just like pops up on the plate, all stuff geared towards kids. But if you know the Punisher, you know how funny this actually is.
The way that Brussels sprouts sneak onto a plate of delicious macaroni and cheese. I'm out here to keep those stinking sprouts off the mac and cheese. Keep them from leaving the store in the first place.
So watching this as an adult, I feel like if I was a parent at the time with a kid, I would just eat this show up because like I'm putting it on for my kid to watch, but also there's like actual humor in this series. That's one of the things that I love the most about this, is because the show has caricatures of the characters, this show is really funny. Unlike a lot of the other like TV shows and superhero shows geared towards children, this show actually has like an ongoing arc and plotline through both seasons. Season 1 is focused around the broken like Infinity Sword, like the Infinity Gauntlet, and then season 2 they kind of walk it back and they do the Infinity Gems. I think the thing I like the most about this series, other than the humor, is the fact that this show is so digestible, but for a younger audience, it's such a gateway to get kids hooked on the idea of superheroes and learning about like the Marvel Universe as a whole. And because of the low level entry to this series, it actually spawned a whole like ecosystem around it. It has like comic books, it has 2 tie-in video games, an online MMO. There's so many other things that tie into this like superhero squad universe as a whole, other than just the TV show. And to me at least, that's really interesting to have this whole ecosystem geared towards like kids in their poopy diapers. Like I said, there was multiple tie-in games to the series. First, there was a console or handheld Marvel game just called Marvel's Superhero Squad. It released on 2009 in platforms like the Wii, PlayStation 2, and then my personal favorite, I had it on the PSP. I played so many hours of that game as a child. Personally, looking back on the PSP, like I actually bootlegged the series and played it on my PC a few days ago. The graphics and the visuals, like, they do not hold up, but it's funny, like my expectations as a child, I was just mesmerized as little Cody playing the game, whereas you look at it now and it's like there was hardly any effort put into this game. The game mirrored the show's art style too, and it let you play local co-op player with your friends too. You get to fight villains in a PvE style, and there's also one game mode where it was like Super Smash Bros, where you could actually play against your friends too. Then there's the online 2011 game called just like Superhero Squad Online, which was just an online MMO continuation of the series, but you could play with your friends on like your local desktop. I, for some reason, was too busy playing Pop Tropica and Webkins. Shout out to the Gym Collector art. For some reason, like missing out on Superhero Squad Online is one of the few regrets I have as a child. But the online game brought the Superhero Squad into the world of a social MMO formatted for kids and teenagers alike. It let users collect heroes, go on missions, upgrade their heroes, and play in zones with friends. I'm a huge gamer, and this game would have been something I was desperately addicted to as a kid, but for some reason it just slipped past me and I didn't know about it. The game actually looks so like retro and nostalgic and early 2000s, so I'd love to hear if any of you guys actually like got to play and experience this in real time and how it was. But sadly, I'll never get to experience like the in-game hype at the time of when it happened, and never get to take my mom's credit card and just spend all the money on V-Bucks for the game.
The fucker got 43, 49 now. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Because in 2017, the server shut down. But unlike Iron Man, legends never die, and due to the cult-like fan base of Superhero Squad Online, there's a one-to-one remake called Superhero Squad Forever, which is publicly available to play online, so I'm probably going to get my hands on that after I make this video. And in my opinion, this just shows how dedicated and cult-like the fan base is, and after I found out about the revival, I knew I had to make a video on this because being the superhero fan that I am, and I love looking at like old nostalgic superhero media, there being an online MMO based off of a TV show geared towards children that lasted like 7 years or something like that, and then it got shut down, and then there was like a revival of a fan-made version of that game. it's just so cool how the community ties in with this. I knew I had to talk about it. And then with the official MMO lasting around a decade online with its servers after the first episode of the series premiered, the early like 2000s internet is just, it's so nostalgic and cool. I might have to make more videos about it. But the content around the series didn't stop with just the video games. Like most superhero shows, the entire series, like I said, was rooted in the toy line. The action figure line by Hasbro began in 2007, featuring these like 2-inch nostalgic little super deformed Marvel characters. The series was actually built off the aesthetic and the designs of the Galactic Heroes Star Wars toys, which I had I'm sorry mom, I had so many of like the Star Wars ones and the Marvel ones. Like the toys themselves are just so nostalgic and cool. Honestly, because the visual style was so unique, it makes complete sense to copy and paste this distinct look into a game that kids can play with and a TV show too. And then we're going to talk about the comics later, but because of that, we had like the comics, you had the TV show, you had the toys, and you had the video games, and that's all facets of a childhood. Talk about like monopolizing a kid's attention with just one IP alone. Which maybe I'm new gen, but having a kids TV show and all the expanded lore and tie-ins by today's standard seems pretty crazy, but the fact that all of this was happening in 2009 is just even more insane. Like I said, the presence of the comics, the toys, the local, and the online video games gave the show a brand new multi-platform identity. Which honestly, I don't get why other series didn't do this. I feel like it's the perfect way to capture all the assets of a kid's attention. The only thing in modern day that I think could be comparable to this would be like Teen Titans Go, because they had like Teen Titans Go to the movies, but there's not like an online game for that. I'm sure there's toys and like maybe comics, but I just don't think it holds a candle to anything that happened with the Superhero Squad. Call me glazing it.
Oh, please don't be glazing me. Here's all right.
But I think this series was ahead of its time, especially the behind the scenes ecosystem that was involved. Because of the extremely kiddish nature of the show, on one hand, reviews for the show were pretty fair. They realized like this is geared towards children. Don't worry about it. Don't take it too seriously. There was a Screen Rant reviewer that said, in short, this is just a big pile of awesome for kids. For Marvel adult fans, it's still fun too. Like myself, many fans and others grew up with shows like the Superhero Squad counting as their first entry point and exposure to just superheroes as a whole. And so I have so much nostalgia and praise towards shows like this because of that. Where I think this show shined the brightest was it being an entry point and a gateway drug, not limited to, but mainly focused at Marvel children, being their first exposure to the Marvel universe. I mean, there's got to be a dad out there that just like put this show on for his kid, not knowing anything about superheroes, and then like started to like slowly peek and be like, hey, what are you watching? That sounds cool. And like became a fan of Marvel because of that. And I think that's due to the fact that because the show is geared towards children, when there are those like hidden adult jokes like hidden in the layers of the series, it's really funny and gets your attention.
Speed is indisposed. He's in a delicate negotiation to avert a catastrophic incident. You can't stay mad at me forever. How was I supposed to know that it was your birthday?
Smash? No. Real men don't smash little girls.
I mean, I'm trying really hard not to nerd out and expose myself as a huge superhero fan, but I mean, I think it's fair to say I'm this far into a video about the Superhero Squad, so I think that train's left. But for some reason, people don't like fun. Obviously, there's going to be mixed receptions on any form of media that comes out. Like I said, there was the Screen Rant review that was like, this is just for kids, don't take it too serious. But you'd be surprised how many like adults reviewed this, and I found 1-star reviews that was like, this show does not take itself too seriously. Like, yeah, that's the point. I'll put on screen some of the funny reviews I saw where people were just talking about like, oh, I'm an older comic book purist fan, and I'm having a critical review of this child cartoon. It's too silly. It's too toyetic. It's non-canonical with the Marvel canon. I mean, come on, dude. How much of a basement-dwelling loser do you have to be hating on this show because it's too campy? I mean, maybe I'm a basement-dwelling loser because I'm saying how cool this show is in 2025, but I mean, come on, why are you being a hater? But despite how much I glazed the series and the nostalgic legacy and the cult-like following that the show held, the show did stop in 2011. And although the brand continued to promote the toy line and the online MMO game for a while, eventually the ecosystem had to come to an end in 2017 when the online game shut down its servers. Although the ecosystem ended, the nostalgia in the fan base remained strong. And honestly, as an adult outside looking in, because I was a little kid when all this was going on, I don't think, to my knowledge at least, there's been another cult-like following or a type of ecosystem around a superhero show fan base like this. I mean, it would be cool to maybe see like Disney Plus revive or reboot the series, but I think I'm more than happy with it just staying as it is, as more of a time capsule vessel of what the early superhero 2000s world looked like. The closest thing we'll ever get to something like that was in the Ultimate Spider-Man. I think it was like season 1. There was an episode where Spider-Man's like going through different realities and it shows him what he would look like in the superhero squad universe. This was because, like I said, with like some of the Marvel, Fox, Sony stuff with the rights, for some reason Spider-Man couldn't show up in the series. So because of that, there was like a 30-second gag on the show showing what Spider-Man would look like if he interacted with the series, which I thought was pretty cool. I hope this video can find the right niche subculture corner of the internet that would appreciate something like this. And although the series only premiered and lasted for 2 years, it's crazy how much of an impact it had on the superhero fan base as a whole. I had a lot of fun rewatching the series. I mean, I didn't watch all 2 seasons. I just watched a few episodes here and there, but I really enjoy making these like retrospective videos, especially on old nostalgic superhero media. So if you guys like the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Like I said earlier, it just helps the channel grow. It helps me know that you guys like these videos, and then I'll keep making them because of it. But if you guys have any recommendations or other videos that you would like to see, leave them down in the comments and let me know if you guys played the online game, because I'm considering like downloading it on my PC and playing it. Truly, I'm so grateful that I'm able to have somewhat of like a niche culture that I can make retrospective videos or just make videos like this on the internet and have you guys talk to me about them. I like to hyperfixate about certain stuff, and I'm so glad that there's people that are able to interact and like share their opinions and thoughts on this as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. You guys see me, I'm gonna go finish rewatching the series, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, take care. Bye.
I hate those squaddies.